Hey everyone, what's up and welcome to your first lesson. Now, one of the most common questions that I've received in all my years as a photographer and an artist and educator is what camera should I buy? With so many options on the market, it can feel overwhelming. Trust me, I've been there. So today, I'm gonna break down 6 types of cameras and what they're best used for. Now, if you're new to all this, don't worry, we're gonna keep it nice and simple. We'll start with the camera that you already have in your pocket, and then we'll go all the way over to these fancy fine art cameras used by the pros. Now, gear is fun, but remember, photography and art is really much more about understanding light and composition and timing and creativity than it is about having the fanciest camera and gear. You'll learn all about these things later in the course. For now, let's dive into the cameras. So here's the lineup. We've got mobile and action cameras, compact and bridge cameras, DSLR cameras, mirrorless cameras, medium format cameras, and finally, film cameras. Now, before we jump into the specifics on all these different camera types, there's one term you need to know, and that's image sensor. What is it? The image sensor is the chip inside the camera that captures the light and turns it into an image. Now, the bigger the sensor, the more detail and better performance you get in low light. Now, there are 4 common types of image sensors. Micro Four Thirds, which is small but still decent. APS-C, which is medium size, pretty good. Full frame, and that's much larger, it's professional quality. And then medium format, which is huge and gives you the richest detail. Now, I want you to notice how much smaller the image sensor is on a phone camera as opposed to the other types of cameras. Now, bigger sensors usually mean better quality, but they also come with a cost. So, just something to keep in mind. Now, your mobile and action cameras, like your phone, your GoPros, Insta360s, these are small, but they're powerful. Action cameras like these are primarily for video, but can also be used for still photography. Now, in order to keep this video from being outdated in a year or two, I'm not going to get into the specifics because really the technology is progressing so quickly here. But here are some general pros and cons that you should be aware of. You always have it with you because it's pocket-sized. They have easy sharing and editing capabilities. They are durable, especially the action cameras, and smart software and AI make for some really powerful tools. However, they have very poor low light performance, you have limited manual control, and the lenses are built in and can't be changed. They also have a very small image sensor. Now, the price is usually between $300 to $1,200, but with your phone, of course, you're not just getting a camera, but you're also getting a full mini computer. So there's that. Now, these cameras are perfect for spontaneous shots, street scenes, on-the-go creativity, that sort of thing. Next is our bridge and compact cameras. Generally, they bridge the gap between your phone camera and the professional cameras. They are also generally smaller and more compact than the pro cameras. Now, these cameras are kind of fading away as phone camera technology improves. In fact, major camera companies like Nikon and Canon, for example, have not innovated in this category for several years now. However, these cameras are still relevant because they're still being sold on the marketplace, and they're great for a number of reasons. They're very portable, and they generally have much more manual control than your phone. They have better image sensors than your phones do, and are generally cheaper than these professional cameras. As for the cons, the lenses are built in and fixed in place. They are not as advanced as DSLR cameras or mirrorless cameras. And they have small to medium image sensor sizes. Now, these cameras can range anywhere from $150 to $1,500, depending on what you're getting. They're great for travel, for everyday creativity, and really just, capturing spontaneous moments. All right, guys, time to get serious. Digital single lens reflex cameras, more commonly called DSLRs. These babies have been the professional standard for years. They have bigger image sensors and big potential. In fact, some of the pros are that they get great image quality. You have interchangeable lenses, and that's really important because, lenses are just as important as your camera body. With these, you also get long battery life and an optical viewfinder. This means that when you look inside the camera, you're actually seeing in real time the actual light coming through the camera and not just some digital processing, which is pretty cool. Some cons of these cameras are that they're kind of heavy and bulky. These cameras have a bit of a noise to them, noisy shutter and mirror. If you're photographing in a church or a mosque, for example, you're probably going to be a bit disruptive. They also are becoming less common due to the progress being made in mirrorless technology. Now, the price of these DSLRs range anywhere from, say, $400 on the cheap end to maybe $3,000, depending on the make and model, of course. DSLRs are great for landscapes, portraits, studio shoots, really anywhere you want full manual control and high image quality. Hey everyone, just really quickly, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, ArtLens Academy. You see, anyone can take a picture, but becoming an artist, that takes a little bit more. Now, ArtLens Academy is a comprehensive program built on a 4-part framework. It's designed to take you from photography basics to true artistic expression. Now, you'll learn the ins and outs of your camera, you'll master lighting and editing, you'll even discover how to tell powerful stories through your images. But it doesn't stop there. In fact, ArtLens Academy actually helps you build a portfolio, a career, and a creative practice that's rooted in meaning and spirit and voice. So if you're ready to grow, and not just as a photographer, but as an artist, then this is your path. Click the link below to learn more and start your journey today. Now let's get back to the content. Mirrorless cameras are a lot like DSLR cameras, but minus the mirror, hence the name. They're actually smaller, faster, and more advanced. Now, the first mirrorless camera came out in 2008, but it had a small image sensor. 5 years later, in 2013, Sony released the first ever mirrorless camera with a full frame sensor, and that was huge. It revolutionized the industry and allowed professionals to now start using mirrorless cameras. Now, DSLRs are still manufactured and used globally today. However, I should say that major companies, again like Canon and Nikon, have declared that they are no longer producing any new DSLRs, and that's because all of their attention is now on mirrorless. So with that said, here's a few pros and cons of mirrorless cameras. First, they are lighter weight. No mirror inside means a smaller body. They have an electronic viewfinder which shows a live preview, and they have fast autofocus. Both of these things makes mirrorless cameras also really great for video shooting. The cons are that you get a shorter battery life, and for this reason, some professionals use a battery pack attached to the camera to double the battery life. Now, these cameras are also slightly pricier, especially for the higher end models. The price range on these can be anywhere from, say, $500 up to $4,000, depending on the size of the image sensor and a number of other factors. And these are really great for travel, for video, and for fine art as well. They're quickly becoming the industry standard. Next, we have our medium format cameras. These are the fine art powerhouses. These are top tier cameras with the largest digital sensors. They create really jaw-dropping images with incredible detail and color depth. Now, here are just some pros and cons of these cameras. First, as I mentioned, you get stunning detail and stunning color. They're ideal for big prints and for gallery work. However, they are expensive. Anywhere from maybe $3,500 on the cheap end up to $33,000 or more. And yes, you heard that correctly. They're also bulky and slower, which means they're not really great for fast-paced shooting. Medium format cameras are great, however, for studio work, landscapes, gallery exhibitions, and they really are the top tier of the fine art photography gear. You know, digital cameras like these quickly took over film cameras in the early 2000s, but film cameras are making a comeback, and for good reason. There's no image sensor inside these cameras. Instead, you have film, which is a flexible material coated with an emulsion that records the light. Now, there are different types of film cameras, just like there are different types of digital cameras. It depends on the size of the film and what you want to photograph. Very similar to digital. It depends on the size of the image sensor and, again, what you want to photograph. So here are some pros and cons of the film cameras. You get a timeless, organic look. You have total manual control with one of these, and it really slows you down to, to think before you shoot. But with these cameras, you also have the ongoing costs of film and development. You also don't have instant review of your images, but there is a bit of a steeper learning curve. You can usually get a decent price on these, ranging anywhere from $100 to $1,000 depending on the camera. But remember, you also have to pay for the film and the developing of that film. Now, these cameras are really perfect for experimental work, analog, and hands-on art lovers. So ultimately, the question is, which camera is right for you? Here's a quick cheat sheet to help you find your creative tool. Mobile and action cameras are always ready, they're portable, and they're durable. Compact and bridge cameras are lightweight and they're beginner friendly. DSLRs, these are reliable, they're powerful, they're classic, and they're professional. Mirrorless cameras are versatile, they're modern, and they have top image quality. Medium format really is on the high end, it's gallery worthy. And film cameras, these are artistic, they're nostalgic, and they create beautiful, beautiful quality. Remember though, it's not about having the fanciest camera, it's about how you use what you have to tell your story. Think about your photography goals. Which camera fits your style, your budget, and where you want to go next. Now this course leans towards professional fine art photography, so you'll likely want at least a DSLR or a mirrorless camera to start out. Choose one simply based on your budget, your preferences, and what your creative goals are. You can ask yourself, how does this feel in my hands? Or is the menu easy for me to navigate? All right, guys, if you have any thoughts or questions, make sure to drop them in the comments below. And if this video helped you, make sure to like and subscribe for more great content. Also, make sure you click the link below for my free gear list where you get all of my recommendations for the best cameras, lenses, tripods, and more depending upon the type of work you're doing. And lastly, remember, great art doesn't have to be made with great gear. It's made by great vision. So keep creating, and I'll see you in the next video.